Yeah, well, I think that we are spiritual beings. I think that we, beneath the body and the mind and all of that, there's a point of conscious awareness, and that's what we truly are. And the Gnostics described it as the divine spark, and it really is that little part of us that is a part of the divine, which can't be separated. It's all one thing, and it's being. It's pure being, and that's what had to exist for everything else to exist, and that's what we truly are. When you meditate and you silence everything else, that's what's left, and that's the thing that's looking through your eyes. So yeah, absolutely, I think that we're spiritual beings, and I think that we're all part of God as well.
Alrighty, hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. We have a very special guest lined up for you today that I am stoked and very excited to talk to. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey there, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together.
Hello, I'm your co-host, Leslie, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we are very excited to be talking to Frater Eleftheria with Lifting the Lamp today. Frater, would you like to say hi?
Hi, everybody. It's great to be on the show.
Thank you so much for having us. And for our audience, on this episode of Living Life Consciously, we venture deep into the shadows where mysticism and ufology collide. Our guest, Frater Eleftheria, is the mind behind Lifting the Lamp, a channel devoted to the wisdom of yoga, magic, tarot, and hidden nature of consciousness, the thing we like talking about the most around here.
Absolutely.
All right, but recently his work has taken on an unexpected new significance. When UFO whistleblower Matthew Brown dropped a cryptic tweet in June of 2025 highlighting the mysterious Sigilum Dei Aemeth, the UFO community was forced to confront a question long whispered on the edges of disclosure. Could ancient occult rituals be tied to humanity's encounters with the unknown? From the Babylon Working of Jack Parsons to CIA experiments and psychic phenomena, the threads of ritual, esoteric practice, and UFO history are tangled in ways that challenge both science and spirituality. What if the Roswell crash wasn't just a technological mystery, but a consequence of Magick itself? And why does the connection between UFOs and the occult still stir fear among the religious and government authorities today? Join us as we pull back the veil with Frater Eleftheria, exploring the hidden side of contact, the power of ritual, and the possibility that consciousness itself may be the key to unlocking the UFO phenomenon. All right, Frater, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks again for having me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Is there any place specifically that you want to start the conversation, or would you prefer me to start with a question?
Sure, you can ask me a question. We can start from there.
All right. I'm a creature of habit, and I like to kind of start at the beginning. So I'll start off with asking you about spending 14 years exploring all this mysticism. So what first pulled you onto this kind of path, and how did it all begin?
So this path is something that's been with me for a long time. Spirituality is something that I've been interested in from a young age. And I always tell people that it found me rather than the other way around. I had a series of experiences which then led me to certain things. And that's how I found the Western esoteric tradition and studied that quite in depth. And the rest is history. I got a lot of knowledge over the years, had a lot of different experiences, and Lifting the Lamp, my channel, is really a culmination of that and my way of sharing what I've learned back to other people, because the world of the occult, it's still, even though it's not as secretive as it used to be. It's still not very easy to get decent quality knowledge on that stuff. So that's I didn't see many places online where you could do that. So I wanted to fill in that gap and put that knowledge to use, I suppose. Yeah. But I had a lot of interesting dreams when I was a child, which led me in different directions. Some of those were more magical, and some of them involved some of the entities that get described in UAP encounters and past life memories and things like that, which guided me towards where I am today. So yeah, that's pretty much the summary.
Wow, I love that. I feel like I could ask you like 10 different questions just right at the rim.
Right.
I'm curious about the experiences.
That was one of them.
What was it? Anything that you think people might want to hear, or first of all, that you would want to share?
Well, since we're talking about the way that consciousness interfaces with the UAP phenomenon, I suppose, I'd like to mention that there are a few dreams that I had when I was a kid between the ages of about 11 and 14.
Okay.
Which were dreams about encounters with aliens, basically. I think that's not what they really were, but I think whatever was responsible for that was putting on that facade, because it was something that could easily be understood with the popular culture and all of that.
Okay.
But then years later, when I had my first physical UAP encounter by doing the CE5 protocols and experimenting with that for the first time, the first experience I had with that encounter was on the anniversary of one of the dreams. So then the physical contact and the dream encounter were linked. It was almost like I was being told they were part of the same continuum. And
synchronicity.
Yeah, and maybe the telepathic communication through dreams and visions is the part of the phenomenon that we're missing now in the modern age, where we're just looking for wreckage or like a physical thing that we can see and record on a camera. And so, and then once all of this Matthew Brown stuff happened, and I had to kind of grapple with, well, why might somebody who's talking about UAPs be interested in the occult? I found out there's a whole history of programs with remote viewing and how that was almost like the main way that contact was established. So I know that you asked me about an experience, but I kind of...
No, it's fine.
Okay, that tangent was fine, because all three of us have been doing CE5 together for over 2 years, maybe
3 years
maybe
now, I
3
think.
years right now. So when you said CE5, I guarantee you all three of us were like,
oh, yeah. Well, we used to do it every weekend. We did it every weekend for solid 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And now we do it
once a month. And we do it with are you familiar with Discord? Do you know what Discord is?
Yeah.
Okay. We do it with our Discord community. So it's like we hardly ever get to do CE5 with people in person, but we are used to doing it online with like people all over the place. Like sometimes,
but we did recently just meet up and do a CE5 together, and it was spectacular.
Yes, we did.
They really showed up. So
I think there was 16 of us there. 16. We went on a spiritual retreat in the Ozark Mountains, and while we were there, we did a ET contact meditation. And it was phenomenal.
They showed up.
Right, when we went out there, not to make this about us, I'm sorry, but when we went out there, there was storming, and we went out to this field, all 16 of us. And
the lightning was crazy.
The lightning was absolutely bonkers. And so we started the meditation, and this very nice lady named Dana, she started singing and playing her singing bowl. After we had a guided meditation done, and she rested her singing bowl on everybody because we were all laying down, and she played the singing bowl on our chest for like 20-30 seconds each, and by the time she made it all the way around the circle, it had stopped storming and all the clouds went away.
They like literally
and the sky opened up,
and there was like so many stars.
There's so many stars, so many. And
It was magical.
yeah, it was. It truly was. And then all of a sudden, we started seeing so many lights. I mean, there had to have been at least 30.
There was just a bunch of them zipping around.
30 in a 10-minute time period.
Just doing all kind of. We saw like a shooting star, and like there were people that were there that were doing it with us, and in their minds, when they saw the shooting star, they're like, "Oh, I wonder if these alien people that came along are going to try to say that was a UFO." But really, we were like, "Nope, that was a shooting star." So like, it like gave us some kind of like street cred that we weren't just going to like bamboozle people with stuff in the sky. But anyways, we're talking too much about ourselves right now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of me saying that is that we are seasoned CE5er.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's great when people come along and they corroborate your experience. Like, no, really, if you do this meditation, lights will show up, like literal lights.
Yeah.
So it's.
I wonder if your practice is similar to ours. We basically, so we switched up our game recently. I'll give you the condensed version. First, we use what they call what do they call it? The dog whistle? The UFO dog whistle?
It's just a set of different
This
frequencies.
came from the Skywatcher Jake Barber situation. Apparently, there's some frequencies. There's like a magic recipe to get like UFOs to show up. Anyway, somebody recreated it to the best of their ability. So we use the dog whistle. Then we use crop circle tones. There's a little bit of each. And then we listen to like a Stephen Greer meditation. So that's our like little routine.
Yeah, and basically the Stephen Greer meditation basically tells you to imagine that you're expanding your consciousness away from planet Earth and where your location is.
Yeah, like zooming out into
zoom out until you get to the cosmos, and then you set off a beacon to say, hey, we're here. We want to make peaceful contact. Oh, sorry.
I think, did you say that? I don't mean to interrupt you, and I'll stop if you want to continue.
That's okay. Go for it.
Okay, I was just going to say that you did, was it just one CE5 that you did? And it was like a while back, right? Like,
yeah.
And so have you done more since, or like, if you haven't, like, is there a reason why?
Oh.
Yeah. So I've done a few. So the first one that I did, I did a whole bunch in like the beginning of 2014. I did a whole bunch.
Okay.
For those few months.
Okay.
And the first one that I did, I saw a flash bulb, I believe it's called.
I saw one last night. I forgot to tell you. In the Big Dipper. Like, it was in the middle of the Big Dipper. It was amazing.
Oh, sweet. Nice placement.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So that was my first one. And then a few days later, I did it again around my birthday. And then I saw like two orbs in formation just going across. And there was like a big one and a small one.
Wow.
And the small one kind of like turned its brightness down as it was going along. So it suddenly just got a bit darker. And that was really amazing. Like, that was like within a few, like, it was the next property over, and it was kind of like, it went behind a tree. So it was about as far as the tree. So,
wow.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah. So that was like really amazing.
Okay.
And then I did it a few more times. I didn't always see something when I did it. But yeah, sometimes I just saw other things that weren't as impressive. But in one, I saw something that was like a shooting star going across my face. And then like it was gone, but it left like the trail of light behind.
Okay.
And then like almost like a brief flash of light in the backyard, like just illuminating the whole backyard, like very quickly. It almost missed, and then it was gone. And it wasn't really like a local thing. Like, there wasn't like an orb there or anything. It was just like a flash of light and like someone taking a photo, and then it was gone.
Whoa.
So I've done it a few times, but it's the only thing that I've ever done, because I've experimented with a lot of things, a lot of different magic rituals. It's the only thing that I've done where I've physically seen light beings appear. So,
wow. Now, when you when you did CE5, you physically saw things, but in my mind, I want to ask you, like, did you get any feelings? Did you get any telepathic messages? Did you have any third eye visions? Did you get anything other than what you saw with your two physical eyeballs?
So with CE5, I didn't get a lot in the way of visionary experiences or anything like that. But what I did get was an overwhelming feeling of peace and well-being and tranquility and love. Like,
Yay! Thank you
really,
for saying
really
that.
good. It's like really good vibes.
Yeah, and you felt the connection with your dreams. You made that probably. I mean, was that like you figured that out that night, or some intuitive like feeling you had, or did you kind of figure that out over time, like make that connection?
Yeah, I made the connection probably that night because it was quite a memorable date that the first dream happened. So it'd be easy to remember. But yeah, that sort of blew me away as well. That there was so much synchronicity there. But it wasn't like I planned it that way either, because I had to, like, when I found out about the CE5 protocols, it was wintertime in Australia, and I had to wait until the sky cleared up before I could try it again. And then I had to wait for a time where I was kind of undisturbed for the night and all of that. And actually the thing that finally prompted me to kind of, now's the time to do it, is I saw a light in the sky. I'm not sure if it really was a UAP or if it was a plane or something, but for whatever reason, that kind of triggered me, like, oh, I'm supposed to do it now.
It was a sign.
Yeah. So what protocols do you use? Like, what's your CE5 routine, if you don't mind me asking? You don't have to say if you don't want to.
No, I'm happy to say. So I use the Stephen Greer, like the very basic Stephen Greer protocols. I don't use the crop circle tones or anything.
Okay.
That could be another interesting to do it with that extra level of things to establish contact. But what I've done is, just the meditation, the Google Earth meditation, where you zoom out and you broadcast the signal out and come back down again.
I wonder if we're using the same material. That would be so. That would be.
I believe
pretty
so.
cool.
I don't think he has multiple, right? It's only.
I think there's like one or two that I've come across, but there's not many as far as I know. Anyway,
we did a loophole. We loopholed it with the Stephen Greer meditation. I don't know if I should be announcing that.
Okay.
Oh.
We
did not get the app.
Yeah, we
did.
We don't get the app. Well, yeah.
I never. I got it. I got it before.
Is that how we got? Is that how we're doing it from that?
No,
or
no.
No.
Okay.
We're kind of bootlegging it.
Yeah.
That's
we are.
Well, if it works, that's the main thing, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh, and also, I feel the need to say that, like, if you ever wanted to do a collab CE5 with us, like, we'd totally be open to having you join our group. You don't have to say yes, or if you don't want to say no, if you, whatever it is. I'm just letting you know there's an open invitation that if you are interested, we'd be more than happy to have you join our group.
Sorry, we're just really excited talking to you.
Yeah, I know another thing you were mentioning is that you never made the connection with the UAP or UFO, and I would assume maybe just because you were so deep into your own research into like spirituality or the occult or whatever you were studying and very focused on. But did you never like kind of consider the two? Because I know between Allie and Justin and I, we were open to both, but made that connection kind of early on with this in our spiritual awakening, I guess you would say, because it was like coinciding. I don't know. And I'm curious what you think about channelers. I don't know if that's something.
I can respond to that. So I was very interested in extraterrestrials, funnily, when I was a kid. And then I sort of lost interest. And then when I was a teenager through to being a young adult, I got really interested in the occult. And to me, I don't know, I sort of, for me, there were two different paradigms, two different ways of seeing reality, but also like possibly talking about different things. So like I thought that the extraterrestrial in a flying saucer is a thing that should be treated as a distinct phenomenon to say like a an angelic entity that gets summoned in a ritual. Like, to me, they were clearly two different things. And I guess where I started to see the connection later, I guess, was when I went deeper into the UAP stuff, and I realized, well, yeah, some of these things are described as extraterrestrial and flying around in metallic objects, but some of them seem a bit more spiritual and are described as beings of light. And these things have appeared through history, and sometimes in association with things that happened in the Bible. And then at that point, I started to think, oh, well, maybe there's a bit of overlap with these two categories. Not necessarily all the time, but there's this area where they start to overlap.
Yeah, the lines start to get blurry, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then I guess another thing that was a barrier to me, seeing the angels, for example, that I'd summoned in my rituals as being the same as these entities, was that in a lot of the tradition that I come from, the Thelemic kind of tradition, Aleister Crowley psychologized a lot of that stuff, and he said, like, oh, well, this stuff, it's really just a part of your own psyche. It's like your super conscious.
I was gonna say something. Keep going. Yes.
Yeah. So then the more I did it, and things happened in the external world that was definitely not me doing that. It was definitely like something else that started to blur the lines even more. And so I'm still not quite there, but I'm starting to see the two things more and more as the same.
Yeah. What if your awareness, to see things, or, your openness to it, in other words, you were like attracting it. And I don't know what you think about the whole law of attraction and us creating our reality and all that, idea. But I do I've theorized to myself. I'm just saying, what if, what if? Like collectively, we are each experiencing, our own realities, personally, but then also collectively, and like what we're all thinking. And, it can go into so much, but that it's all like, yeah, basically the same thing. And what if everything is like true? Each person's, truth is their truth. And, where there's multiple, dimensions and realities. And, they say, there's, some people say there's like millions of other Earths and all this stuff, like who knows? Like, what if we are creating everything, and we're over here trying to like decipher it all, but it's like it all is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to get real deep like that, I mean, yeah, how much of it are we just creating ourselves, like with our consciousness and the way we perceive things? Like, you think about the way that you can reduce all the laws of physics to like mathematical equations, and it's like, but maths is something we came up with. Like, it's obviously not natural. So why do we live in a mathematical universe? Yeah, and it's because what we're actually getting to the bottom of is not actual reality. It's just our perceived reality. I don't want to. It might make things a bit full on to bring philosophers into it and all that, but there's the idea of the phenomenal world and the noumenal world, and we can't ever really touch the noumenal. But it's basically our reality is more of a perception than we realize, I guess.
Yeah, like it's all in the mind, right?
Well, I think our brains actively filter out whatever is not needed for our survival.
Well, yeah, that's a fact. We know that.
I mean,
our bodies are filters, basically.
Because, think about it. Our eyes are sensors, right? And our sensors can't see all the different spectrums that there are to see.
We see less than 1% of the white spectrum. So there's like 99% of other things going on around us that our physical bodies, our meat suits, as I call them, keeps us from being able to even perceive that. So it's like, there's a whole lot of other stuff happening. And so much, just like you said earlier, Frater, I always put like angels in one category, demons in another category, aliens in one category. Like, I had all these separate categories. But then as I started diving deeper and deeper into all these different rabbit holes, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. depending on what time of the, human history they were talking about it and what the vernacular of chosen stuff was at that time, how people spoke, they could all be describing the same freaking things. Like, who's to say somebody seeing, like a light being with wings that they call an angel isn't the same as a light being that could be an extraterrestrial flying around in a Merkaba? I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know that much about the occult, but I find it very interesting. And when I, came into my spiritual awakening and interest in all things spiritual, obviously that's a big part of it, so I have, looked into some stuff, not necessarily individuals or anything, but I'm totally open to that. I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience and we will return. And, this is a filter, our body, basically our perception, the way we are experiencing this reality is through a huge filter of our body, basically. But, what I found interesting, I came across near-death experiences. That was a big, huge part for me.
Oh, yeah, same.
My mind. But that and channelers, and they're all saying the same thing. But yeah, if you go back into all the spiritual teachings and obviously occult, all this stuff is here about consciousness, basically, and what we're really capable of, and maybe what we truly are. We're not just what we are here. We're more than this. What are your thoughts on our beings, human ourselves? Frater.
Yeah. Well, I think that we are spiritual beings. I think that we, beneath the body and the mind and all of that, there's a point of conscious awareness, and that's what we truly are. And the Gnostics described it as the divine spark, and it really is that little part of us that is a part of the divine, which can't be separated. It's all one thing, and it's being. It's pure being, and that's what had to exist for everything else to exist, and that's what we truly are. When you meditate and you silence everything else, that's what's left, and that's the thing that's looking through your eyes. So. Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're spiritual beings, and I think that we're all part of God as well.
As do I.
Right?
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the soul. Oh man, I'm messing up my own quote. How am I going to mess up my own quote? Give me a second. Here we go. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. I always mess up that last line. It's okay.
I think that Leslie was asking about channeling as well.
Yes.
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think about that also.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it's real, and I think the more that I think about it, things like scrying from Western esoteric tradition, from something like Enochian magic, it's really just a form of channeling with extra steps. And a psychic medium might just go into their zone and sort of stuff comes through them, but it's the same process, I think.
Okay.
I agree with that. I've said similar things to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a burning question that I would like for you to clarify for me. You mentioned summoning angels. And forgive me, please forgive me, and in advance, forgive me. I was raised Catholic, so for me, that word summoning was like, oh my God, you're calling in the devil. You know what I mean? It was like that weird, oh, don't do that kind of thing. So for me, that word has negative connotation, so to speak, but only because of the brainwashing. I mean, religion I received when I was a kid. So can you do me a favor and tell us what the word summoning means to you?
So summoning, maybe a better technical term would be invoking or evoking.
How is that different from inviting?
It's not too different from inviting. But it's more, if you invoke something, you're kind of calling it into your inner world to have a conscious experience of it in the form of a vision. And if you're evoking it, you want it to appear in the physical space with you, as a disembodied incorporeal presence, but it's slightly different. But they're both forms of invitation.
Okay. Because CE5, by Dr. Stephen Greer's definition, is a peaceful invitation. So it's very like, hey, Star Fam, come hang out. It's a house party, and we want you to be here. It's like that kind of vibe. So, you said, so did you invoke or evoke an angel before? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I would have invoked them because the purpose was to not to have it appear in the room, but to actually. I mean, you still feel the presence shift and everything, but it's much more about going within and going into a trance state and having a visionary experience where you encounter these things in your inner world, in your inner spirit vision. And so that's the way in which I summoned the angels.
Okay.
There have been a couple of times where it was more like an evocation, like I physically called the angel into the room and kind of sent it out to do things. And that had real world effects as well.
Wow.
And effects that relate to the whole Matthew Brown thing, actually.
Really?
Okay.
So in April of this year, I evoked Sandalphon, which is an angel from Western esotericism.
Okay.
And I asked it to help my channel be exposed to more people than it was, so that I could help spread the message and all of that sort of thing. And then it was after I did that the whole Matthew Brown thing exploded. So for me, so for me, that was like the angel, making things happen in the world to answer my prayer, basically.
Wow. Well, that angel definitely did that, because as soon as that Matthew Brown tweet hit the UFO world, like the angel shit hit the fan. I'll just put it like that. I don't know how else to say it. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was trying to figure out what it means, what it was connected to. All this other stuff started coming up. So when Matthew Brown posted your work, how did you feel about suddenly just being sucked into this UFO world? And have you ever had any communications with Matthew Brown, like, about all of this? Have you ever talked to him?
Yeah. So I have had some online communications with him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he's seems like a nice guy and is quite interested in esoteric things as well, as is, evidenced in his ex name of Son of Abramelin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite an experience to be pulled into the UAP world like that. Because it wasn't, I have had some UAP experiences and I do believe in all that. But it's not like a big interest. It wasn't like a big interest of mine. And
sure.
So it was quite surreal. And how do I even describe it? I mean, suddenly there was all this interest in Magick and things like that, and how the UAPs related to that. It was quite reality shattering in a way.
I can believe it.
It forced me to rethink some of my assumptions as well.
Oh,
that's awesome that you got that validation, from your evocation, and then all of a sudden, everything just opened up. Because of one tweet.
They always say you have to ask for help from the angels for them to help you, but they're ready on go, like, to do just that. That's basically what we're surrounded by them.
And I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, that was congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I know that Pavel already welcomed you to the UAP community, but we'd like to give you a second welcome and to let you know that you have friends here amongst us if you want to, like, dive into it even more, or talk about stuff more. We love doing that.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm interested in the occult stuff, and the esoteric practice.
You definitely get to that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the part where, like, do you believe the rituals, like Parsons Babilon Working, really played a role in Roswell? So, and this is, I guess, referring to the portal you're saying they opened or something with the ritual they were doing. That really
That's
And I've never
fascinating.
heard that until I listened to that video. And so, yeah, that's wild. Do you want to speak on that?
Sure. It is one. And it puts a whole other spin on the flying saucer phenomenon and Roswell and all of that.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm not sure if I'm ready to conclude that it opened up it opened up a portal, and that's the reason for the modern UAP phenomenon. That might be giving Jack Parsons too much credit.
Okay.
Okay.
There are people who believe that, and it might be true, but I think maybe what happened was that ritual created a sort of synchronistic resonance where that stuff could sort of come into the kind of collective conscious a lot more and become more prominent and well known to people. I think that with my own experience of Magick and the kind of effects that it works, that it has, it does work more like that. Like things start to happen in the world that reflect the themes that you symbolically are playing with in a ritual. So I think maybe that's what happened. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if he actually tore a hole through space time and something came through. Maybe that did happen, but there's
The timing lines up pretty nicely. Just saying.
What was the point of that? Like them getting together in the Roswell area? I mean, was it anything to do with aliens, or was that something that just happened? I'm trying to figure that part out. Like, what were they doing exactly? What was their intent and goal there?
They were trying to summon a goddess called Babylon, and they wanted her to somehow come into this physical world in order to usher in a new aeon and free people from the kind of old religious structures. That was the reason for Jack Parsons doing that with L. Ron Hubbard. And so he sort of cobbled stuff together. So it wasn't directly related to the UAP.
But
phenomenon.
somehow we got there.
And it is creating, I mean, the UAP and all that is kind of creating exactly what maybe he was the new world and new whatever. I mean, that's happening through it in a way.
Yeah.
Am I just kind of going off there? Am I making that? Is anybody else seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems like a new form of religious experience. I guess Diana Pasolka would agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what Jack Parsons was doing, he cobbled together this ritual because it's something that he made up. But he used some of the Enochian calls, which are like these things that you say, conjurations basically, to enter a certain layer of the heavens to communicate with the angels. And so he was incorporating those into his rituals. So I wonder if that was the thing that invited these entities in. And I wonder if it's the same technology going back to the Enochian magic, which is kind of evolved into some of the techniques for remote viewing that get used by CIA programs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So there might be a connection there between the two things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Now, you mentioned that they use symbols, so I would be amiss if I didn't mention the Sigilum Dei Aemeth and how it stands for the seal of God's truth. And then I also want to bring up how Matthew Brown used the name son of, how do you say it, Abraham? Forgive me if I'm saying it.
That's his name on it.
Okay, but I'm like wondering, like, because that basically talks about like the end of the world kind of thing, right? Like the end of something, like there's this thing that's a coming apocalypse, whatever word you want to assign to.
Thinking of Aborimon, the angel that you, the name that you found in the sigillum.
That too. So right. Yeah, I'm just wondering if you could share any light on like I don't know. I guess I'm just really still trying to figure out, like, what was Matthew Brown really trying to say? Like, what do you think he was really trying to say with all of this? Like, what connections do you make from it?
I'm still asking myself that.
Okay.
I think he had a pre-existing interest in esoteric things, kind of like an academic interest, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't know the extent of it, but maybe he was drawing his own conclusions there, or maybe he knew something and he just can't, for national security reasons, he can't say anymore. But some of the things he seems to have been describing were like the structured light craft, I think was one of the things he said in his tweet.
Yep.
Was it sounds a lot like something, he's pointing to something spiritual. I mean, I immediately thought of the Merkaba light, the Merkaba light vehicle from Valo Melchizedek. Yeah, you've got to. So I just wonder if, I still don't know how much he knows, to be honest. But yeah, I'm still puzzling it out myself.
Okay, fair enough. That's a fair
you.
answer, because I mean, unless he straight up comes out and tells us, we're all just kind of speculating.
I mean,
right?
I have an idea.
Oh, go ahead. Do you want to share this idea?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think, to be honest, I think that there's a lot more people within government, or more specifically the Department of Defense, or even the CIA, that are into the occult. And this is evident by Sarah Gam, what she's come out and said. You know, she's claims that she's a psychic, and that when she first got into, I think, the CIA, that she said this to them, that she was psychic, and nobody really even
batted an eye. Yeah, they were like, oh, okay, cool.
It was just like something that everybody does, you know. And then when Matthew Brown came out, and you know, to me it's pretty clear that he is into the occult, and all these other esoteric teachings. So with his tweet, the MMTU, I think you basically said it was, it means the writings on the wall, something like that, right? The writings on the wall. We have, and then the name Aborimon, which indicates that there's going to be a change in, or breakdown in society, or what's keeping everybody at bay or from ascending, so to speak. So I think basically, ultimately, I think his tweet means that he thinks that the end times, whatever, you know, you think that is coming, or is upon us, or that there's a great change upon us.
Okay.
I think ultimately that's what
I like the last thing you said.
Yeah, a great change. Yeah. Now, what that is, I don't know. You know, what the change actually is. Is it, could it mean that our civilization has been under the thumb of a alien race, so to speak? You know, they've been keeping us from the rest of the Galactic Federation, you know, and that wall or barrier is about to break down. Could it be that, or could it be something else? You know, I don't know. It's all very interesting to me.
I mean, I think, to make a point to your point, the fact that when George Knapp asked him, like, what do you want people to know? And he, like, took a moment and then finally said, God is real.
Look, man, if you were to die tomorrow because of whatever reason, what do you want people to know right now? Like, what do you want people to know if you're just, like, fucking gone?
You are not free. And this reality has far more to it than you have been allowed to believe. And God is real.
I mean, he's putting a huge, important emphasis on this whole entire thing. And I'm It's really interesting, and I love how ufology and disclosure is crossing the occult and esoteric nature and magic and all that, because I feel like it's all essentially under the same umbrella. I'll say that again. I really do feel like these things are all somehow intertwined. Like they're
it's all come to light that the government, has done many, psi stuff. They are doing all the stuff, the remote viewing, all that. It's all like basically out now, but it was secret for a long time, and then there's like the whole, prior to my spiritual awakening, I was very into conspiracy theories, and there apparently is like rituals, like satanic type rituals happening within government from my understanding. And I can't say that I don't think that is true. Like, what are your thoughts on that and the darker aspect of like those happenings, conspiracy stuff?
It's a big question.
That's a great.
It is.
Well, I tried to ignore the possibility of it for a long time because it was just too disturbing to think that. I mean, I always knew that since I was quite young that the rulers of this world are of their father, the devil, in a sort of metaphorical sense, in terms of what side they choose, in terms of do they choose the side of light for humanity or do they want to oppress everybody? But I never imagined the extent of the depravity and the outright Satanism. And I think that's become impossible to ignore now because of, that a certain list that doesn't exist, that does exist but now doesn't exist. And, the Diddy parties.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is coming out now. I mean, the footage, the video footage of Bohemian Grove has been around for 20 years now or something.
Yeah.
And it's always the same people that seem to be
world leaders
of that stuff. And Skull and Bones, that George Herbert Walker Bush was a part of, and lots of prominent people were in. And, you can say they're just being a bunch of frat boys or whatever, and they're just messing around with stuff. But, as someone who's studied this for years, I know a cult ritual when I see one, and I know how powerful this stuff is and how easy it is to invite something in. So I think, yes, there seems to be a bunch of left-hand path practitioners in control of our society, at least Western society, and that's very disturbing.
Yeah.
But it's I don't think it's necessarily. I was thinking about this morning actually. How was there a takeover at some point? But I think that this has always been the power that has been in control of our world. And not to get too religious, but that's why Christ came into the world, was to overthrow that power eventually, even if it takes thousands of years to percolate through. But yeah, I think that it's always been in control of our world, and people just worshipped gods that demanded human sacrifices openly for thousands of years, and powerful people have been into some disturbing things for a long time. I mean, if you look into Emperor Tiberius and the sort of things that he was into, it's just he would fit right in with some of the people in Hollywood or in Congress right now. Yeah, so it's always
that was a heavy one to drop. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't go all the way there, but people
it's fine.
Use Google. But yeah, it's definitely something that's getting harder to hide, though. These people have had the benefit of at least having the external appearance of being appointed by the Pope or by God or something as the rightful rulers and doing all of that stuff in secret. But now they've kind of sabotaged themselves by going on a campaign against religion because they saw that as a power structure from the previous order that was kind of in their way. But now the emperor has no clothes and people can see them for what they are.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And I mean, these are all things that we've spoken about on this show before. I mean, as a matter of fact, we just did a video this past week with UFO disclosure advocate Steve Bassett. Are you familiar with Steve Bassett?
No.
It's fine if you're not. It's cool. But the point is that he thinks, and he has receipts. He has receipts for all this. He has like a list of evidence that he provided us with what he thinks. He basically thinks that Trump could, not that he's going to, just that he could use disclosure of aliens and NHI and all that stuff as a distraction from the fact that he's on the Epstein files. So it's like if Trump thinks that all of a sudden the Epstein files are like really going to be leaked and he's like really about to be exposed, he'll be like, "Oh, look over there, aliens are real," So like, I don't know.
And then he'll go down in history for that, and like he's not.
Yeah, and then the whole creepy stuff will be overlooked by the fact that like he told the whole planet that we're not alone, which I think would be like a really cop-out way of handling things. But anyways,
but that's how they all do it. I mean, it's kind of politics in a way, like that's how it's done, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's all changing. And according to astrology, we're in that new cycle, or people talk about Christ consciousness and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like we're in the cycle. The Jesus time came and went, and it's like we're there again. And it's happening in a different way. And I think we have been suppressed spiritually to, know who and what we truly are and how powerful we all actually are and how much help we have beyond, the physical and all the stuff. But I'm just going on. But yes, so here we are.
Well, since you mentioned Jesus, I feel like this would be a good time for you to tell everybody the story behind the name Lifting the Lamp, because I heard this on the Sigo Activo podcast. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I want him to say it on my show. So do you where that name came from and what it means?
Yeah. So when I had the idea to start the YouTube channel, because I always knew a day would come when I'd have to publicly talk about these topics with people and try and teach it to them. And I came up with the idea of a YouTube channel was probably the best way in our modern day and age.
Sure.
And I was thinking, okay, I need a title for my channel that's meaningful. And I was thinking about what I'm trying to do with the channel, and if there's anything in the teachings that we've received in our civilization that reflect that. And, I'm quite familiar with the Bible and Bible verses. I was raised a Catholic, and, early on I was quite fixated on the Bible and memorized quite a bit of it. Well, not memorized, but I know where everything is, kind of a thing.
Definitely.
And so I knew there's this verse in the Gospels where Jesus talks about if you have a lamp, don't put it under the bed or don't put it under a bushel, depending on the version, but rather lift it up for all the people to see its light. And so I took that and I said, "Oh, lifting the lamp. That's what I'm doing with this channel. I'm lifting my lamp." So
rather got chills. So
many. Sorry.
I said I just got chills for you telling your story about lifting the lamp. So that's confirmation that that's a good name.
I like that.
I don't know. I get body chills. It's confirmation for me.
Yeah, anyway. That's Leslie's sign that like something magical and truthful just occurred.
Yes.
But I also really enjoy your name and the meaning behind it. And I feel like maybe in a not exactly the same way, but like a very similar pathway. Like that's what I'm trying to do and we're trying to do with our channels, this channel and UAP Society News that we do. We're basically just trying to like bring light to a subject that isn't really talked about too much. You know what I mean? It's very, very taboo. It's very, very stigmatized. There's like misinformation and disinformation campaigns that have been going on since frickin' Roswell to get people to like not really believe in this stuff. And if you do, you're crazy.
Fear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like I feel like our channels have a similar spiritual path. Like we're trying to
we're trying to break down
people with
stigma,
this conversation.
Trying to normalize these conversations so that people can learn and potentially have something that impacts them for the good.
Yes. And if you could please do our audience a favor, I feel like this would be a great time for you to drop your links, tell them where they can find you and what kind of cool stuff you got going on.
Yeah, well, in terms of my main platform, it's YouTube. So check out Lifting the Lamp on YouTube.
Okay.
And yeah, just you might include a link, or otherwise people can just type it in. And then I'm on Instagram as well. I don't use that quite as much because it's just harder to get people's attention with the way the algorithm is. And it's not as good for long form content. But some of my stuff is on Spotify as well, but most of it will be on YouTube. And I do have an X account, which I use sometimes.
Okay.
Mainly so that I can respond to things that are happening in UAP world, because that seems to be where stuff breaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's where people can find me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I will definitely have those links up on the screen as you say them and in the video description box below. And I want to flex for you real fast because Frater just had a whole spread in New Dawn magazine, which is an Australian magazine. And when I saw you make that post on Instagram, I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. I want to talk to him about that.
Hi, everybody. I've got some pretty cool news to share. So I was in the shops today and I picked up a copy of New Dawn magazine, special issue. And if you don't know what New Dawn is, it's a quite well-known alternative magazine in Australia. I say quite well-known, it's one of the main sources of alternative news, articles on hidden history and esoteric spirituality. And you can go to any newsagent in the country and there will be New Dawn magazine stocked there. So it's very well known. And in this particular special issue, there is a article that is 5 pages long, which is known as Lifting the Veil, the Occult Technology Behind UFOs. On page 42, it begins. And if you look here, hopefully that will look familiar. That is Matthew Brown's ex-post and this screenshot from one of my videos on Anunnaki and Magick. And the article goes into quite some detail, talking about that whole saga and talking about the surrounding issue of the interdimensional and spiritual occult aspect of the UAP phenomenon. The individual who wrote it is Andrew K. Arnott, and I've read the article. I've got to say, job well done, mate. This is not an easy topic to cover. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of things that other people might sensationalize or might change the facts because they're a bit too confusing, so it becomes like a telephone game. But you've done a really good job of, hitting the nail on the head in terms of describing this issue in quite a bit of detail. So yeah, it's a good article and I would recommend it if you're in Australia. Drop to any newsagent and you'll be able to find it. So that's my exciting news. Thanks, everyone.
So was that like another Matthew Brown moment where it's like all of a sudden you're like in this magazine? Like, did you know that was happening? Like, how'd you react to that?
I had a friend from the various spiritual circles that I've moved in tipped me off that it was coming. So It wasn't a complete surprise, but I didn't know which special edition it was. So I was kind of keeping an eye out for it. But it's still stoked when it happened.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how many people still engage with the old media compared to like how many people watch YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely just in terms of like the status of being in that magazine, it was a pretty good feeling.
Well, again, congratulations. Yep. Jonks, we just congratulated at the same time. Awesome. Very cool. Justin, now would be a great time for you to ask him your famous question.
Okay. Hold on. So before I ask you that question, I wanted to bring up, as far as like CE5 goes, there's another person that's in Australia who we've interviewed before, and he's a great person, Peter Maxwell Slattery. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. but he's made a couple different documentaries about doing CE5 and contact experience. But if you're if you're interested,
and he's also very spiritual.
Yes,
he's also done CE5 with us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would recommend looking him up. I think you guys would get along well. Okay, so I'll ask you my question.
We're very enthusiastic around here. If you can't tell, I hope that.
Yeah. Okay. What is your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
Oof. That's a big one.
Yeah.
We love asking this one.
Yeah, I've got a lot of hope for the future of humanity, and it goes against every instinct that I have looking at the way the world is. But that's what I've been told, that the future is hopeful, and I think that what we're moving towards, and I don't know how long it will take, if it will happen in our lifetimes or not, but I really think that we're moving towards the kingdom of God on earth. You know, as it's described in the prophetic texts of the past, and the messianic era, as it sometimes gets described, or the golden age, the age of Aquarius in New Age circles. I really do believe that we're heading there. So yeah, my greatest hope is for that to come about, and I think that we're in a really good time to help bring that in, because this is where it's all going down.
Yeah.
We haven't lived in a time like this where there's so much chaos and so much things shifting so radically, probably in 2,000 years since the last time there was a cusp from one age to the next.
We definitely chose an interesting time to be incarnated here on Earth together, right, guys? I mean,
absolutely,
freaking wild out here.
I want to say, I loved your answer, by the way, but on a personal, and I feel like most people would agree. I mean, maybe not everybody, but you kind of have to go through darkness and struggles in life to reach light and to have a spiritual awakening. It's going to start with like
turmoil
in your personal life, you know what I mean? And so on a collective scale, considering all the crazy, horrible stuff that's happening, I mean, it only makes sense for the collective to have like a complete awakening and for the better, to make change, basically, and
Agreed.
Absolutely.
All right, I want to ask you one last question, and then I'll stop talking. What wisdom from your personal path would you like to share with people just now waking up to all this?
Oh, okay.
People have that look on their face. What was that?
There's so much that I could say. If there was one piece of information, just start to look within. If you start to try and get deep down to what you truly are, then that's, it's hard to go wrong from there. If you can just get in touch with what your consciousness truly is and be guided from there, then you'll be on the right track.
Yay! I love that my show is called Living Life Consciously. It's so fitting.
Isn't it cool how everything comes around?
Full circle. Well, this has been an amazing conversation, Frater. I hope that the UFO community has been treating you well. If not, send me names. I'll make sure they see these hands. Okay, and I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But really though, I hope that the UFO community has been nice to you. You have friends here amongst us, so you can call upon us if you need. Don't invoke me; that'd be pretty weird. But you can definitely email me. And then, I just wanted to say that I'm proud of you for being open to all this. I know on Pavel's show you said that you were reading Chris Bledsoe's book, UFOs of God. So I don't know how far you got into that since that came out like a month ago. But I'm glad that you're open to all this learning and new things. And I feel like what you were doing in the past and what's happening to you now because of Matthew Brown stuff, it's all intertwined. So I feel
it's all about connecting the dots, what I'm saying?
Your spirit guys knew what they were doing when they let Matthew use that tweet of yours, or that picture of yours in his tweet, I should say.
I think before we go, I feel like we should check and see if there's anything that Frater wants to share with, that we didn't cover or that he might just want to speak on.
Sure.
Well, one thing that I thought of as we were having this conversation was that it seems like these beings, these beings of light, however we describe them, they want people to know that they're there. Like that they want, at this point in our history, they want us to know that they're real. And I don't know exactly why just yet, but that seems to be a big push that's been happening with me reaping the consequences of all this recent stuff. I've had to finally draw a line in the sand and say, I'm going to have to tell the world that these light beings exist. So I'm not sure why, whether it's because we need to, as a society, we need to reestablish a connection with the divine in a really kind of impactful way. But yeah, they're here and they want us to know that they're here. So yeah.
Great point. Thank you for making it. And I can't help but notice that that's the same connection with Leslie's name, light being love, another synchronicity. Love those, love those, love those. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you guys so much. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Frater. Say hi to your cat and give it a little boop for me later. For our audience that's sticking around, please do us a favor and smash that like button. Click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word. All right, we do a 3-piece closer. I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and you're open to joining us. If you don't want to do it, that's cool too. We do much love, peace, and namaste. Are you down to join? You don't have to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, awesome. Here we go. Ready? All right. Much love,
Love.
peace, and namaste.
Namaste.